You know what, mistaken? You've heard us talk about. I think we've talked about what happens at the end, like with women with age. They start to like naturally want the deprogramming. Like, oh snap, was I wrong? Like they start to weigh that programming against how they actually feel and some logic, and they're like, well, do I actually feel this way, or was I told this stuff and just believed it? That's what we mean when it's like, y'all better snap out of it. That's my fear. Like we're trying to snap women out of it because it's just a mindset thing. It's hard. Let me tell you, I as a married man, I can understand why most young men don't want to get married, and that's very terrible to say because you have to be intentional about all you have to do. And yes, the women have what they have to do, but and all of that. But it's like I get it when you're like, you will run this amount of pressure, blame, responsibility, um, what's the word? Mood. You have to regulate your mood, like as a black man, so you don't go off. Like my children need me because I want to slap shit out this motherfucker. Like you have to do a lot of stuff just to um uh be present, like get your gold star from society. I can see a lot of men being like, I don't want that. I get hoes anyway. Like you see what I'm saying?
But Trigger Mike, do you think that they get a fair representation? How many men do you know come online and talk about why they happy they married?
Why they what married?
Why they're happy that they are married? How many men do you know come online and talk about that?
Oh well, we not many, not many. They're usually older and they don't get any views. Damn near.
That's what I was about to say. It's probably quite a few out there, but like you said about the algorithm, that's not what young men are looking for. They're
No,
not
you
looking for that information.
you know what it is though. Like the me and Marcus age people, we've been trained not to. Good news now invites pushback. Like I'm sorry, good news or it maybe sound like we're bragging. I don't know. What it does is it'll create you'll think people will big us up for it. No. Or if you're around too many single people, what you're doing is reminding them that they're single. And it may even come off as judgmental because they didn't make the same choices. So then when you start getting side attacked, like, what? How did we turn into that? So they teach us to be quiet. Don't even bring that up. Don't celebrate things in your marriage because they will turn this into something negative. Right. So yeah, we're trained not to do it for real, for real.
Well, this sounds like you guys are advocating for people to get together younger and try to work together to hopefully have a great relationship. And when I brought this up some months ago, I sat there and said, listen, this is the greatest risk, but it gives you the best reward because guess what? When you struggle with people, it builds a bond. That's why when brothers they go through stuff like in sports and stuff like that, they're going through the same adversity at the same time. And because of that, it builds camaraderie, and you're more likely to stick next to these people when the time gets rough because you've already experienced adversity with them. Same thing in these relationships. When you are in a relationship when you're young and you actually can stick through the different modes that you end up transitioning through at 22, 25, 27, these are the times where relationships break up the most because you're also going through the most change. But if you make it past those changes, then you have the greatest chance of having a relationship that will probably last 10 years. The problem is that now people are being trained and conditioned because of what has happened in previous relationships. And then even some of the good relationships, if you track to the beginning of their story, some of the stuff that they preaching now, they weren't preaching when they got together. So the formula that you're telling me I should follow, that ain't what you did. You did something completely different. And you only can talk about it being good because it worked out for you. But there's somebody that did the exact same thing that you did, and it worked out terrible. And they're crying, and they're like, God dang, I can't stand this person. The only reason why you can stand up here and be like, yo, I have a healthy, great relationship is because when those transitions were happening, y'all stayed together. versus when these other transitions happening, they was like, F this, I'm out.
I think that's a great point. But HD, when I be talking about it, I literally be trying to explain what I did. And instead of somebody taking that and saying, okay, he might have a formula I could work with, they're going to tell you, oh, that's a one-off. That's random. That's not going to work nowadays. It's a different caliber of women. People will make any other excuse as to the reason why it can't work for them as opposed to trying it while still going along with the general rhetoric of the people who it did not work out for. And it's almost like they buying insurance to fail. Like, as long as I operate like this, I'll get a guaranteed outcome that's going to be negative, but at least I chose specifically that it was going to be a negative outcome versus trying what somebody else is saying to get a positive outcome, because that's so far out of the realm of realistic possibilities.
You know what it is? It's because people don't like to change. What you're telling them to do is to change their behaviors, change the way they think, change even possibly their friends, all of those things to get the outcome that you want, that they say that they want. So it's easy to stay where I'm at and blame other people and just keep creating this self-fulfilling prophecy of the piss in the pool instead of making the change. And I think that's really what it boils down to. You have the same people that's complaining about the same thing because they're around the same people that's complaining about the same thing.
I think there's some credence to both what you're saying. I think that there are some deep dives that when you look at the people that's presenting the information, right? A lot of brothers that I know that have very easy time dealing with women, they learned that younger, and they had a lot of relationships and a lot of women to learn this mentality off of, right? And so then when you ask them these questions like, oh, think of women like this, a lot of the brothers don't got the same experience as some brothers. So when they hear you, like, it's like hearing you're a physical trainer, right? And you've been a physical trainer for 10 years and you built your body and you had the experience and the time and you got this. So when you say, hey, just go do this, and it seems like a very foreign concept. Wait a minute. I'm fat. You're in shape. How can you expect me to do what you're doing when I haven't even got the foundation of what you got? Right? And
That's
you can go.
no, I was gonna say that's fair. That's 100% fair. I used to personally train people, right? And everybody start in their own journey at their own specific place. The thing that's the most important is, what is the general concept? How do we break it down into smaller steps that are small enough for you to take the first step and then move forward? Essentially, I'll be asking people just to take the first step and then move forward. You don't have to judge your journey by, I'm here. I started this 15 years, 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be at a different place. It's not a comparative analysis. I'm saying, hey, I made these mistakes. You could get here quicker if you just look here. This is I did that. What you're about to do. Just don't do that. This is how you get from point A to point B with the least amount of veer-offs as possible. But that's not. It's you be around. You know.
Yeah.
What you were saying too, that person may look and be like, oh, I'm fat. You have no idea, but you may not necessarily know that person's journey. That person probably was fat too and had an experience which pushed him to get to where no, I'm serious. Get him to where he is, and now he's trying to give you the game, but you don't want to listen.